Alright, I'm gonna try and make this real simple. So where to begin? A lot of talk around this finals being really boring. I don't necessarily see that to be the case. But I'm not going to be one of those people that's running around acting holier than thou and acting like, oh, this is only for real hoop heads. Because that can honestly be just as condescending. There are just as many people out there that would have complained and whined if the finals was Lakers Celtics, pretend that they refuse to watch for attention as well. If someone wants to say it seems boring because Miami seems overmatched, well, that I can maybe understand. Game 1 was a blowout, we know this. I will say though, this game did not lack interest throughout the entire game for me. I didn't like what Miami came out doing. They were playing a little too fast, and you can tell Denver was happy to push the pace. Aaron Gordon was basically scoring over little dudes nonstop to start the game. It looked like when you have recess and the teacher comes out and plays with the kids for a little bit, and he just keeps scoring over all the kids. Miami isn't a poorly coached team, so I think they will do something to figure out that issue, but maybe they just keep playing it and don't expect Aaron Gordon to try and win the series by himself. But you never know. Sometimes you just can't stop stuff. We live in an era where people are very quick to make reactions based off one game and one game only. It was so apparent during the Eastern Conference Finals. People see one team easily win, and they're just so quick to proclaim, oh, the series is over. Miami did not play as bad as I thought. I do think they really are going to have to play their best game in order to get a win in Denver. But that's the thing about 7-game series. Theoretically, all you need to do is get one game on the opponent's home floor when you are the lower seeded team. That being said, Denver has yet to lose a game at home in this postseason. But they did only play 2 short series, so that honestly doesn't mean too much. But the Denver elevation is a real thing and has been a real thing for years. Though to talk about the elevation, I'm not sure that's even really a factor against Miami yesterday. Miami's a Pat Riley team, so they are going to be one of the best conditioned teams in the league year after year. I think game planning and really execution kind of took them out of this game more so than being tired was. Denver was carving them up for the majority of the game. Miami has proven to us that they can still be down big and still come back and take the game. They're not a team that just gets punched in the face and just like, oh, well, on to the next one. When the fourth quarter hit, I was still tuned in very closely because I could see the momentum shifting, and Miami was really sticking to their zone defense, and it was going well for them. Once I saw Lowry come off a pick, he hit a 3, I was thinking, dang, I can see them getting a little nice run going. This game ain't over yet. Miami was able to go off a little solid 11-0 run at one point. Had Jokic in the middle of the paint with 2 dudes on him, and his clock was going down, but he did what he does, and he made some crazy pass, and Denver got the score. Once that happened, in my eyes, their chance to kind of keep pushing and win this game kind of slipped away from them. And Duncan Robinson's reaction kind of showed me that. Basketball is a fickle thing, man. Sometimes you have to be perfect to pull off these crazy comebacks, and that's very hard to do against a team that's as locked in as Denver is right now. Jokic, Murray, and Aaron Gordon all played their games very well. Bruce Brown did his thing. You even got some good minutes from some bench dudes, and if all that is going Denver's way, they're very hard to beat. Props to Bam for coming out aggressively. He was looking like a glorified Hashim to beat in that game 7, so to see him come out locked in is pretty good. I think teams always think they can just have their big guy score because Jokic can be a subpar defender at times, but it never really works out well for teams. I understand the temptation to get your big some easy points, but Jokic also adjusts pretty well after a while, and he's really good at using his hands and figure out what he can get away with, what he can't get away with, and he uses all that type of stuff to his advantage. He's a savvy player. Jimmy is going to really have to do some Herculean, Hemi Butler type stuff in order to steal a win in Denver, and he just wasn't in that mode in game 1, you know? I don't think Miami played that bad, but it was more so Denver was just playing so well. And you could tell they were fired up for this game 1. Their crowd was really into it, but for Miami, their other guys are going to have to step up. That's the one thing you can pinpoint that went wrong for them in game 1. Their other dudes were stinking it up. The Caleb Martin, Strus, Duncan Robinson, all those dudes were not providing much, especially when you compare it to some of the things that they've done prior rounds. Dudes dropping 0 points and 3 points, that's not going to get it done on the road against Denver. I'm glad Denver is finally getting their props. I don't agree with the whole, oh my God, stop talking about the Lakers, oh my God, stop talking about this team, stop talking about that team, all that crying that they've done. But I will say they had some allegations of them being fraudulent that I would say they put to rest. People was giving them some fake first C5s. People was throwing crazy dirt on their name. I know some people are starting the narrative that, oh, they've only faced 3 playing teams in their run, so they're not that good. They haven't had good competition. But to be honest, the teams they played were still really good teams, and Denver really outclassed all of them. So at the end of the day, they are Denver. If you're being realistic, casual fans are not going to be interested in you, especially over other teams that are more household names. Instead of whining about it to the media, which most intense fans agree the media isn't that great anyway, just go out and win it all and make people care about you. Keep winning, and people don't have a choice. Nobody cared about the Warriors in 2011. Now people don't have a choice. They're talked about all the time to the point where people complain that they're talking about too much now. So people are saying like, oh, there isn't a narrative, so it's hard to care about the finals. Win it all, go back to the finals next year, and you can be damn sure that there'll be a narrative then. Now, as for the rest of the series, people are going to look at this game and immediately jump to a sweep. I don't really think that will happen. I know it's hard if you see a team trying to guard another team's best player with Cody Zeller, but just give Miami a chance to go back to the lab and figure some things out. Before the series started, I was actually really struggling to decide who would win this series. series. It was one of those corny things where it was like, oh, my brain is saying Denver, but my heart is saying Miami, like that nonsense. But after sitting and really thinking about it and looking at how both these teams play and what they do well and what they don't do well, I kind of came to the decision of Denver winning in 5 or 6 games. And by the way, I made this decision before game 1, even though my only alibi is my coworker who is from Croatia, so he always roots for all the Eastern Europeans in the NBA. But it's just going to be so hard for Miami to win on the road. But if they do start taking care of business, I can only really see them winning if the series goes really, really like a 7-game, like a full 7-game series, which is kind of what happened last series, even though that was a completely different circumstance. But that's really what I think would take for Miami to win. They're going to really have to prolong this series out, really tire Denver out, really get some great performances from Jimmy Butler, really have their other dudes step up. And that's really the only way I can see them hanging in this series. I mean, I would love to be wrong and have this series go as long as possible, but I'm going to stick with my prediction and think Denver's going to close this out in a 5 or 6 game series, something like that. That being said, time for me to beg for subscribers. Like I said, we reach 1,000. Somebody gets a jersey, really nice jersey, authentic, not a DH Gate one. I did get past 50 subscribers. I know we got a long way to go, but I hit 50. So to be honest, should I give something like a small thing away to show thanks and gratitude for having 50 people subscribe to me? Maybe I will. I'm thinking about it. It wouldn't be nothing that big, but just give out something to show that I'm thankful. Appreciate y'all. Keep it up, and I'm gonna keep it going.